is answer these 3 questions in your journal for your do now. This is from the Cold War, so this is a review, something you will be seeing. Oh, wait. You should not be turning around, you should just be looking up. So this is a review. I'm going to be coming around and signing off on people who are working on their do now. You have 4 minutes until we move on. Let me spray should be working silent.
Is those astronaut notes?
Should be in your memory, but it's also going to be in Ladies and gentlemen, what is my volume expectation? Thank you. Please show me what that means. I'm going to be working my way around.
How far back is it?
2 minutes.
How far back is it?
Check your contacts.
Stop doing Cold War.
Right now, we should not be. Finish up in 5, 4, 2, and 1. Pencils down, eyes up here. Thank you, Stefan. Thank you, Dahlia. Voices should be up. Number 1. Can I get a volunteer? Why was Korea divided in 1945? Xavier? So, can you say that again? My fan was a little loud. We couldn't hear you up front. Say that a little louder.
I said Korea was divided because the United States wanted it to become a supermarket, but the USSR wanted communism because it's
Perfect. So they're going to split it up. Soviet Union wants communism to go into Korea, and America wants democracy. They can't decide, they split it up. What is going to divide North and South Korea? I need a hand. Raven. 38th parallel. It is up on the board. It's going to be divided between North and South Korea by the 38th parallel. What we've been doing all year. And what form of government is each Korea going to have? Let's start with North Korea. Criteria, what type of government? Communist. North Korea is going to be communist. South Korea is going to become, Isaac. Democratic or capitalist? Correct. Any questions on how they're divided, why they're divided, or their government? We'll see this again. Make sure if you have any questions, you let me know now. Let's jump to our table of contents so we can get started with class for today. Alright, today's date is April 8th. 4-8. And our entry. Our entry is going to be the work that remains. The work they remains. Please turn to the page where we are taking notes. On the top of the page, I want you to write the topic and time period that is up on the board. Write it at the top of your page. So our topic, work that remains. In our time period, we're going to focus on today. The issues that exist today. First term, I want you to write in your Cornell notes. Whoa. Everyone should be writing these terms in your Cornell notes. So in 1965, Malcolm X is going to be assassinated. Does anyone remember from your homework that was due on Monday who is going to assassinate Malcolm X? You remember? Please raise your hand. Danisha, can't hear you. What group was he a part of? Ooh. Raven, help us out. What group? Nation of Islam. So, Danisha, what group was it? Nation of Islam. Why are they going to assassinate him? Does anyone remember from your homework? Xavier, thanks for the hand. So Malcolm X is going to start changing in his ways. He started out being very aggressive, calling for complete separation of the races. In the mid-60s, he's going to start softening a little, saying maybe the races can work together in certain situations. Old allies from the Nation of Islam, they're not going to like that, so they're going to assassinate him in 1965. In 1968, Martin Luther King will also be assassinated here in Memphis. Malcolm X and Martin Luther King kind of led the movement. Martin Luther King was the main leader for the nonviolent protests. Malcolm X was a really big influence in the more aggressive protests, the more militant protests. With their deaths, the civil rights movement is going to kind of decline. You don't have as strong a leadership. You don't have the country united behind one cause. So the civil rights movement is slowly going to decline and eventually end in the 1968 time period. Change the slide back. 4. Civil rights movement has a huge impact on us today, even though it was over 50 years ago. It still impacts our daily life today. There's going to be a lot of new laws and regulations that come out of the civil rights movement. These laws are going to prevent legal discrimination and segregation in America. Who can define discrimination for us? It's an old vocab word. Raven? So a certain group of people don't like others. There's a little bit more to it. Add on a little. What's going to happen? Treat the different treatment, harsh treatment for a specific group. It can be racial discrimination, which is what happened during the civil rights movement. And segregation. What does segregation mean? Amina?
Separation by race.
Separation by race. So separating another group based off of racial difference. So the civil rights movement is going to end legal discrimination and legal segregation. It is illegal to deny someone a job based off of race. It is illegal to deny someone housing, school opportunities based off of race. You cannot deny service to someone in a restaurant based off of their race. But that doesn't mean there's no racial inequality still existing today. So the question is going to stay, what can we do to fix our future? What can we do to fix our present issues of inequality and injustice? So legal segregation ended with the civil rights movement. But we still have this big gap between the races in wealth and educational opportunities. Yes. Do they do that anymore? In public? No. In private places like a country club, they can, in a private institution like that, it's really right? It's a private. It's the law. There's, so in public, you cannot do like So today we're going to look at the inequality, the divide, the gaps that exist between the races today. How there's inequality that is still happening today. It's not legal differences, a legal separation, but there's still that separation and injustices happening today. Jade, can you read the first sentence up on the slide?
Planning will be used in charge and grasp to help us analyze some of these issues and still exist in necessary.
And Dahlia, second quote.
Start off, we're going to be amazed, wealth, and to understand the wealth gap that is between the races.
So we're gonna kind of look at charts. We're gonna look at evidence that shows the difference in opportunities based off race. What I want you to do is please pull up the reading that says race, wealth, and intergenerational poverty. I want you to pull this up. They should be on everyone's desk in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Right.
So this is going to be an article. There was research done about the inequality between races today. We're going to look at this article, this excerpt of an article, to help us understand what differences are happening and why. We're going to read this first box together. Can I get a volunteer to read that first paragraph loud so that you can be heard over the vents in the fan? Thank you.
There will never be a post-racial environment if the will to gap persist. Despite an enormous cities the black white will gap, the mighty American heritage is one that claims our society is overcome racial divide. The wealth is a paramount indicator of social well-being. Wealthier families are better positioned to afford elite intake, access funds to start vehicles, finance expensive medical procedures, reside in higher or mental neighborhoods, exert political influence through campaigns to question better legal representation, legal recourse, and withstand financial bargains.
Thank you. So what is this paragraph saying to us? Who can kind of summarize what is happening? Andrew, kind of summarize this for us. What is it saying about what? Are you the first paragraph, not the second? We haven't gotten to the second. It's just talking about wealth. What is it saying the importance of wealth is? Like what? What are some specific benefits to having wealth?
You need access to wealth, health care, or whatever, and you need education.
So you said some really important things. You get better health care. You also, if you have more wealth in America, you're going to be healthier. You have more safety net in case you get a disease. You're going to have better educational opportunities. Better education means better jobs, which means more money in the future. I'll deal with it, Vincent. Right now I need you in your seat. Second paragraph. Amina, please read the second paragraph.
The wealth gap is the most serious indicator of racial inequality. Based on data.
Pause right there. Everyone should underline that first sentence. Thank you, Mina. Go ahead and continue.
Based on data from the 2002 survey of income and program participation, white median household net worth is about $90,000. In contrast, it is only about $8,000 for the median Latino household and a rich $6,000 for the median black household.
Pause there. Let's underline that. That seems like very important information for our annotations. White median household net worth is about $90,000. What does median household net worth mean? I need hands. Stefan.
So it means like the household.
The average what?
Average white household is about $90,000.
90. What is it? Their house costs $90,000.
Oh,
It's their
How much they make?
how much they make. What do we call how much someone makes in a year? Income. So it's the average income for white families is $90,000. What is it for Latino families? What's that median income, the average they make a year? For Latino? 8,000. 8,000. Thank you, Jade. And African American? 6,000. That's a huge difference. That's mind-blowing how big that gap is. What is that difference between African American averages and white averages? Someone do the math. I need hands. Isaac.
Too much.
$84,000 difference a year. This is the average. This is not saying all white families make $90,000. It is not saying all African American families only make $6,000. It's saying that's the average. So we're not. Let's finish this paragraph before we come to the end. Amina, go ahead and finish the paragraph for us.
The median Latino or black household will have to save nearly 100% of its income for at least 3 consecutive years to close the month. Furthermore, 85% of black and Latino households have a net worth below the median white household. Regardless of age, household structure, education, occupation, or income, black households typically have less than a quarter of the wealth of otherwise comparable households.
This paragraph is telling wealth is incredibly important. In order to succeed, in order to have security, wealth is going to give you that advantage. What is this paragraph? Sorry, let me rephrase that. Can someone explain the wealth gap that exists between the races in America? Who can summarize what we read, explaining the difference in the wealth gap?
It's like, okay, the more money you have, okay, like the more money a race has, the more intelligent or like more, yeah, the more intelligent the race is. So it will make you more money.
Right now, we're not focusing on the effects of it. Tell me more, what is the gap? How can you summarize the gap between the races?
It's like the black is about the Latino is like that early is middle, and then the white is like way up.
This huge difference. Got the average white family, their income is up here. Minority Americans tend to be lower down, about $80,000 difference. So that would be the income. Is there any questions so far about the gap that exists? This is huge. This is not something that we can just brush under the rug here in America, but people do. People say there's not a problem between our races. I want you to read this next box. These 3 short paragraphs. I want you to read this section silently and independently and answer questions 2 and 3. So silently, independently, read and answer 2 and 3. When you are done, call me over so I can read your answers and kind of check you off. I will give you,
5 minutes.
we'll do 5 minutes to read, annotate, and answer questions 2 and 3.
What can I get over there?
So what is my volume expectation before I start class?
0.
Thank you. Vince, what is my volume expectation? Remind me of that. Just remind me. Why not? Show me what that means. Got 2 minutes remaining. What's my volume expectation? Show me what that is. One minute remaining. Okay, need pencils down, eyes up here. Go ahead and put your pencils down and Dahlia. And all eyes should be up here. Thank you for cheering. Xavier. So this talked a little bit more about why there's this gap. First section telling us we have this huge difference between income. And now it's kind of touching on why. Could someone tell me what some people attribute this gap to? What are some people saying this gap is caused by? Dinesha? Financial literacy. And what does it mean when it says financial literacy? The behavior? What do you mean by the behavior? Expand a little for us. Xavier? What is financial literacy? Okay. So, but the financial. So, literacy is about reading, but what about financial? Tie those two ideas together. Mina? Managing money. So Xavier, financial literacy means? What does it mean? Anisha, what does financial literacy mean? Managing money. Perfect. Is this the case? Is it just about money management? Is that why there's this gap? Isaac, you shook your head. Why not? So people say it's because there's this gap because the minorities in America don't know how to save money. But that's not the case. They tend to save a higher percentage of their monthly income than the wealthy in America. So what is it? What is actually going to be causing this gap? It's not because of financial literacy. That is not the situation. Jake, why is there this gap? For number 3.
Because they include education, including household.
So it's going to come down to education. What was the second one? Income. And household. So it's going to come down to the type of education that each group is going to get, how wealthy that household already is, and what was the last one? Household? And household structure. So we're going to look a little bit more at that now. How is education going to contribute to that? How is all of these factors going to contribute to this wealth gap here in America? Turn the page. On the back, it's going to tell us kind of the history of this inequality. It's going to briefly talk about life from 1880 on. What happened in history to set up for inequality today in 2015? With your table partner, I want you to read, annotate this section, and answer questions 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to set the timer. I'm going to set the timer for 5 minutes. You and your table partner have 5 minutes to read this section. We'll do 6 minutes. Read this section and answer questions 4, 5, and 6. What questions do we have before I start the timer? All right. Go ahead and begin. Or no question. So look up in this picture. We're saying there's not a relationship today. What's social ratio? The reason black income is so low is because they attribute the racial wealth gap to what? What is going to the next one? Immunodependent or what is that? sitting because it doesn't have but that's not what you really cost. Education is Vivacious group. Think a little bit harder. It's not in the text. I want you to challenge it. But what is inequality? If something is inequality, they're not equal. One is better than typically inequality.
Transfer of wealth and past, present, carry, institution, black, wealth, accumulation, private action, moral
I will do buckets.
wealth, right around. Take care.
I will keep it high. Oh, what? Quartier. It is fine. Please do not draw attention to it. Please. We have dealt with it before. We will just ignore it today. Right now, you all are doing so great on this. Do not let a little bug distract it. I will keep an eye on it. If there's cause for alarm, I will let us know. Awesome. Thank you, Table 4, continuing to work. Thank you, Table 12. Thank you, Table 13. Or, it's fine, it's fine. Wait. It's fine. Please. It's coming low. Do not swing at it. Vincent, I need you in your seat. It is fine. It is in the. It's fine. It's on the light. We should be working. Our time is still going. You have a minute. We are not cutting time because of a wasp. We're going to continue. Thank you, Aaliyah. Thank you, Table 7, continuing to work. Sierra is finishing up.
We got right now, John.
You're answering them. Thank you, Table 2, getting back at it. Yes, we have time. Vincent, take a seat. Awesome. Time is up. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I need pencils down. Eyes up here. Right now, there should be no topic. Thank you, Jade. Thank you, Andrew. Still waiting on two scholars? So this section, it talked about the history of how history has set up for inequality today. How? How are the problems of the past affecting people today? We all read this section. I should see more people on the phone. So number 4, how might historical inequalities, historical injustices affect today's opportunities? I'm waiting for 2 more people. Do you want to get in? Waiting for 1. It is not just going to be 2 people participating. Isaac, start us off, and then I'll jump around to the other.
I say, like when you're like, you're black American, then you're not employed. You're employed. A lot big job. Then all of the children, when they come along, they will be poor because of the schools they go. The people they are.
So, coming out in poverty to begin with, your kids aren't going to be in as good schools. You're going to have schools in maybe lower quality neighborhoods or with lower quality and equal educational opportunities. Raven, add on.
All the things that the white terrorists and those people did back then, it was just American. We have to spend all this time doing American.
So there was time that needed to be rebuilding. What do you mean by rebuilding?
Like, okay, so we had real more banks and stuff like that. You know, have to work 2 times as hard.
So having to work 2 times as hard to get where?
To get to where we're supposed to be at least off the ground.
All right, to get a start. Xavier, what were you going to say? Something new to add? Nina, was there something new to add that they did not already say? All right. So coming out of slavery, how wealthy would you say that population was? Once slavery ended? Not at all. If you agree, thumbs up. If you disagree with that statement, please put thumbs down. So if you believe no wealth in poverty after slavery ended, you agree with that statement? I need thumbs up. If you disagree with that statement, saying they were well off, thumbs up. We're back. 5 people doing their things here. So most of us are saying, I agree. There wasn't a lot of wealth after slavery. How is that going to cause problems for their kids? Stephen. Why not? Alright, so they're not going to have as good educational opportunities. Why is education important? So right now, I call that reason.
You gotta be smart and build your conduct for education.
And education is going to lead to better opportunities, higher paying opportunities. So let's look at the critical thinking. I want us to jump down to question 5. So kind of keeping that in mind, I want you to look at question 5. Dinesha, can you read question 5 for us?
If someone has
before the civil rights movement, someone who graduated from that segregated black high school, is their education as good as the white high school? What do you think, Aaliyah? Is their education going to be equal? Is that shaking your head? So you're right, they're not going to be equal. At the black segregated schools, they were not as strong as the white schools. I'm going to wait till I have all side conversations done. So how is that going to affect the student who graduated from that black segregated high school? How's that going to affect their kids? What are you thinking? How's that going to affect their kids? Why? Why are they going to do that? Why not? So we don't have legal segregation today. Our schools are not segregated based off of race. So why, after segregation ends, are their children still going to have a bad education? Okay, so maybe it's the routine. How good of a job are their parents going to have if they graduated from an unequal high school? Lola? Can I name the school? So back before the Little Rock Nine, a black high school that was not as good as a white high school. How good is their education? What type of job are they going to get if they do not have as good of an education as the white high school? They're going to have a bad job. They don't have as strong of an education. It's going to have a bad job. Are their kids going to be set up to succeed?
No.
Why not?
Because they don't have
They don't have the education.
Oh, sorry. I need hands just so I can. Stephen?
They don't have the education they need to work.
All right. So they're not going to have the education they need to work. Danisha, what were you saying? Alright, so it's not going to be as strong as they need to succeed out in society. Correct. Please pass these forward. Put your name on these and pass them forward. I will read your responses to question 6 tonight when I read it. I need all classwork up at the front in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Should all be up in front. What I want you to do, don't worry about anything on your desk. I want you to look up at the board. I will turn off the light so that we can see this board a little clearer. Up on the board, we have a chart. Looking at this chart, what does the x-axis represent?
You?
Looking at the chart. Real fast. Which one is the x-axis? So what are we showing on the horizontal line? Years. So we have years on the x-axis. What's on the y-axis? Percentages. So we've got percentages on the left. What is the line going to represent? Someone up front who can see the small print, can someone tell me what is this line representing? So the black percent in majority white schools. So the percentage of black students, African American students, who are going to be in predominantly white schools. So that's what this is showing us. Over time, how many African American students are going to be in white schools? Take a moment, look at the chart. In what years were there the fewest African Americans in white schools? Isaac. 1954? Correct. So in 1954, I'd say to 1961, what's the percentage? 0. We've got maybe 1%. It's so small we can't tell. So basically nothing. What year do we have the opposite, the most? Raven?
1989.
So in about 1989, we're going to have the most. What percentage would you say?
44.
Maybe 43, 44%. So looking at this chart, what does it tell us about the civil rights movement?
It was doing bad at first.
Give a second.
It was increasing.
Give a second. I need. What do you think about that? Jake.
As over the years, they increased it and then they decreased it.
So, just thinking about the civil rights movement.
What is it?
So it's going to help. What year does the civil rights movement end? You took that note today. Criteria, when does it end? In 1968. So we got 1968, and then the percentages skyrocket. It goes up quite a bit. What does this chart tell us about racial issues today, though? Xavier. What does this chart tell us about racial issues today? It only goes to 2010, but what is it saying about issues today? Alright, so today, they're more diverse? Does that Raven? What do you think?
And this group was like, okay, it went up there, I said 8, 9 years, and then after that, it
So it went
started
up
going
next-
back down.
So what is happening? What is this saying is happening?
The racial started going back, it started reversing.
So it's going to start, ever since 1989 roughly, we've got a decrease of integrated schools. This is, so that's going to be a problem. We are going to kind of look at some charts that are showing the inequalities that exist today. So this, just like we did on this step, I'm going to ask you about the x-axis. What is it showing? I'm going to ask you about the y-axis. What is it showing? What is happening in these charts? So please pull out the packet that has charts on your desk. I need your race inequality charts on your desk. Looking at the first chart. So this should be on everyone's side. We're going to look at number 1, the first chart together. Start up. What is this graph show? Talia, what is this chart showing us? High school graduation rates. Number 1, showing us high school graduation rates. Number 2, criteria. What is the y-axis showing us? We're looking at that first chart. So it's got numbers, but what are those numbers representing? No, any hands? Sierra? Percentages. So criteria, what is the y-axis representing? Percentages. Latavius, what is the x-axis showing? So where is, can someone help tell us, where is the x-axis?
It's the bottom, it's the bottom.
The bottom. So if you're looking at that bottom line of the chart, Latavius, what is it showing? What's a line that looks like this? Years. So y-axis showing the percentages, x-axis is going to show us the years. So what percentages of high school graduation rate over the years? at number 4. Number 4 says, how did high school graduation rates change for the entire population between 1940 and 2008? Which line are we looking at, Sierra? So for number 4, which line are we going to look at on the chart? The blue line? Is so the question for number 4. Go to number 4. Entire U.S. population. So we're going to look at the red line. That's total student population. When it says total student population, what races do you think they're looking at? Black, white. Is that it? Latino, Asian, everybody. Every student in America, regardless of race, they're going to look at that. What is happening? Look at that red line. It's increasing. So we've got an increase from 1940 to 2008. Graduation rates are going up. Number 5. How did high school graduation rates among Black Americans change during those years? Jamie, what line are we going to look at on this chart? What color? What did we say the red line represented? Total student population. So, Jamie, what line are we going to be looking at? Blue. How do you know that? How do you know that the blue line is going to represent African Americans? Because it says Black students next to the key. So what is happening with African American students in their graduation rate over time? It also increases. If you look at number 6, Dahlia, can you read number 6 for us? So do we have a line for the white Americans? No. So what we're going to infer? What is to infer? We went over this in Pride Month. Use clues. Use context clues. So what clues? So using the clues, using the facts, what do you think is happening with graduation rates among white Americans?
All of them graduate.
So why are you saying all of them are graduating?
Because it ain't no line. So, it automatically all of them graduate.
So it's not necessarily going to say all are graduating. Dolly.
I think some, but most of them are graduating because, like, Blacks in the total are graduating, and I guess it's higher, so probably whites are higher.
Did everyone hear Dolly's explanation? Dolly, can you say that a little? Say that a little louder so the whole class can hear.
She said, as you see, the Black students and total students are increasing, also the white students can increase.
So if every total student population is increasing, white students are increasing as well. Would you say that they are above, below, or connected with that red line? Are they above? So white students, would you infer that they're above, below, or directly on that red line? Why are you saying above, Xavier? So because the red line is higher? One more time. I can't hear. So it's connected. So because, why are you saying it's connected? So because it's up there, because it's, okay. Does everyone agree that we would say the white graduation might be with the red line? Isaac? Oh, I'm sorry. Isaac, I want to make sure everybody can hear you. I've got some distractions happening in the classroom. Seems everyone's ready, Isaac?
Because it's different. The red line is above the blue line, and the red line is the total student population graduating. So it says that Black people and some of the red and the white people, when you add them together, become
So are you saying that the white graduation rate is above or connected with that red line?
I say
Connected. So we've got a lot of people saying connected. All right. So it's going to be higher than the African American graduation rate, is what we're all in agreement with. And number 7, what do you think might account for the differences in high school graduation rates between Black Americans and white Americans? Why is there a higher graduation rate from white Americans than the African American population? So let's think back to the reading. Let's pull off of the reading. What do you think? Why did we say there was inequality in the reading? Fair question.
Because the blacks, you were saying the blacks don't have a good education. Even though you said their kids, got their kids. So I'm trying to predict it.
So how can we connect that? You're really close. So close.
Like, I think you know what I'm trying to say, I just don't know how to say it.
I want to make sure we can figure out how to say it. So could we get an assist? Let's have that. How can we describe why we have this difference in graduation rates between the races?
Because like, okay, all the time they had to review the country, obviously, and then the blacks were even educated, so their parents were educated, their children were educated, and kept going through the
So we have this cycle that's going to happen through the generations. I like that answer, Stephen. Add on? So it's going to be this cycle, typically based off of the reading. Who is more well off in America? What race?
white people.
White. So who's going to get the better education?
White people.
White people. So who's going to have the higher graduation rate?
White people.
Unfortunately, that's how it's going to work out. So because they are more set up to begin with, Caucasian students are going to have higher graduation rates,
And they're gonna have high opportunity.
and then they're going to have higher opportunities. Correct. What I want you to do, jump down to this second graph. This second chart on the bottom of the page is looking at graduates with a bachelor degree. Does anyone know what a bachelor degree is?
That's the first degree that we right.
It's a 4-year college degree. So this is an associate's is 2 years, bachelor's is 4 years. So it's kind of the second that you can get. So this next chart is going to show college graduation rates. Graduating college with a degree. I want you to go through the same steps with your table partner, looking at this chart. Answer questions 1 through 7. It goes on to the next page. Answer 1 through 7. I'm going to put a timer on the board for 7 minutes. Work with your table partner. We did that as a class. If you gotcha. You are not gonna So we did that as a class. So you accept your consequences. You're gonna jump into this one. I want you, regardless of what happens, you can jump onto this one too. Work through this, make sure you can make the points. Jump to number 1 on the chart on the bottom. That's going to get you more points. You're going to get more points. Same thing, I heard you is enough. Just doing it. You should understand that I know.
Wait. Don't eat. Oh, man, that means something.
I wonder why people are looking around the room when you have all your work right in front of you. Thank you. We need some people to be working in the back of the room as we focus. Thank you, Johnny. Johnny's working on his chart. Really solid work from people 2-7. Working with the other partners, if you would like. Right, good group work, round table 1. Just under 3 minutes. I'm going to get through question number 7 and then pause.
On God, you just say higher. On God, you say higher. We looked at church then. Thanks for the
Is it going up as fast as the fall? How did the percentage of college
Finish writing your final answer. I'm going to need pencils down in 5, 4, voices off in 3, 2, and all eyes up here in 1. Thank you, Vincent. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Keisha. Thank you, Leah. Thank you, Corbin. Thank you, Glenn. So what is happening with graduates, people graduating with college degrees? Who can kind of help summarize what is happening with college graduation rates?
They need money.
Look at the chart. We're looking at the chart and I need hands. I need hands. Stefan. What's happening with college graduation rates?
Next. This is like the graduate with national population.
And why, what tells you that? That there's going to be fewer African Americans graduating with the bachelor degrees than the rest of America. Why? What told you that information?
Probably because you
Well, looking at the chart, what's going to tell you, how did you come to that conclusion?
mine is blue and red.
So the blue line, which represents what group? Black students, is below the total, the red line. Are there questions about this? Why do you think, why do you think there's going to be this difference between white graduates and black graduates? Why do we have such a big gap? If you could speculate and guess, Amina.
Oh, probably different.
Oh, I'm sorry, Amina, I'm going to have to pause. I need you at 11F. Amina, what were you saying?
Different educational opportunities.
So different educational opportunities. How is that first chart, the high school graduation rates, how is that going to affect the college graduation rates?
Because if you don't graduate high school, you can't get to college.
So if less people graduate high school, less people are going to get to college, which means there's going to be less college graduation rates. So the problem was set up before they even got into college. So there's this problem that's going to be set up since high school, even before that. I want you to continue on. This next section, we looked at education with these charts. Now we're going to look at general economic inequality. This next chart, this next chart is about unemployment rate. Who can tell me what is unemployment?
I know.
Vincent.
People can work. Not in disability parents.
People who can't work is disability, but Vincent, you're close. What is unemployment? Right, I was just Vincent. Dahlia. People that don't have jobs. So Vincent, what is unemployment?
People got all time.
Right now, ladies and gentlemen, I need side conversations.
All people don't got no job.
So people who don't have jobs.
So what they call this?
Students.
So we just
Right now, you're students.
When we turn 18, we're going to be unemployed.
Depends on if you have a job or not, or if you go to college. If you go to college, you're still a student. Right now, I need hands if you have more questions. Right now, Vincent. What is my name? Probably that. Thank you. Please call me by my name. I am not Cuz. Hold your question right now. I've got a question for the class. Which is better, high unemployment rate or low low unemployment rate?
Low.
Take a second. High unemployment, thumbs up if you think it's better to have high unemployment rate. Thumbs down. Oh, I'm sorry. Thumbs down if you think it's better to have low. Which is better, high or low? Well, most of us are going low. Why is it better to have a low unemployment rate? Someone explain. Sierra.
Because if you have a low unemployment rate, then you might have a higher chance of being employed if you make your job.
So more people are going to have jobs if you have a low unemployment rate. So think about that when looking at this chart. This chart is going to look at the unemployment rate in America and specifically with the African American population. With your table partner, I want you to look at this chart. I'm going to put a timer on the board for 10 minutes. Work with your table partner on this chart. In 10 minutes, we're going to reconvene and discuss. Yes. For answering the question, you can. Horizontal is going to be X. So horizontal. So maybe table 2 if no one is. Table 1. Table 3. Table 4 working. John. Table 7. You can work together. You can work with your table partner. Think about the white. Where do you think they're lined? The white unemployment. So you're thinking white unemployment rate is going to be higher? Why? White. So does that mean they're going to, so which is better? High or low? Low. So that means more people have jobs. So if the white population has better education, are they going to have more jobs or less jobs? Better education. You're going to have more jobs. So that means, in general, are there going to be more white people unemployed? Have better education. Employed. So that means there's going to be fewer people unemployed. Focus on employment. So do you think if this is the national average is black, white, Asian, and do you think they're going to think are they going to have she wasn't in this class. She was delivering something from another teacher. So why are you saying it's going to be low the national average? So what line is the president from? Tell us. So his family line for white. So other races. And where, let's focus on the white. The white on the state. And where would it fall? What did it say? Below the red. imply? What's the word imply?
Shock.
So it's not shocking, but it's Johnny, I'm not sure if you're gonna come back. I want you to finish these charts for homework. Go ahead and grab them, just in case John.
Can I finish my phone?
Vince,
I finish my phone.
I need copies.
excuse me. What line? Not shocking. Where do you think it was at? Below.
Stop.
So you say the D.
No worries.
Leave for Tanisha still or committing to Dahlia.
We're supposed to start in October.
You're supposed to get just unemployment rate. So get 3 questions. Where you're saying bluegrass. Based off of our check. What we're doing So, what did we say? What happened with grabbing? So which one did it get more? Which one of us get out? Space out. So are they going to be above this red line? Which line or below this red line if they have more jobs?
This is so difficult. So I say,
What?
white people get
3 minutes?
white people get more jobs.
We're not going to down below. We get through the implied. That's probably the most. So what does it mean implied? What is the word implied? So it's hinted at. It's not showing, but it's what two groups have we been comparing? So what line is not showing? Next question.
What's the? What number is it?
What is implied? Before you write that, take a moment. What is this chart? Oh.
It'll be lower than this.
So it's going to be below this before you write? I mean, we're going to finalize this. So it's below this ruler. Is it going to be on the red line? Above it or below it? Why? So how do we know they have more opportunity? That there's what we look at before. What did we look at before that says there's more opportunity? A higher graduation rate or this is getting you more jobs. So that means unemployment is so it's gonna have lower unemployment rates. So it's gonna go where? Below, yes, below the red. So that's gonna be so not below the blue line, but even below the red line. Next one. Why do you think, why is it that, there you go, way to connect those guys. Can you what? We'll see if we have it. Tanisha, we're not gonna hand it over.
You have any homework? You gonna be at the same house? Yeah, that's stop, Missy.
Why?
Ladies and gentlemen, any voices up, eyes up here in 5, 4, 3. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, Mina. Thank you, Dolly and Stefan. 2 and 1. Thank you, Leah. Pencils down, eyes up here. Perfect. Still waiting on a few. I'm waiting on 1. Waiting on 2 now. Got it. Just waiting on 1. So I'm gonna summarize this chart pretty quickly. We've got to jump into our summary. But this chart, we said it was about unemployment rate. Could someone Danisha, can you kind of help summarize what this chart is saying?
I think looking at the red line,
So looking at
lower because they have a great population of jobs, and the blue line is higher, and they don't have good jobs.
So there's going to be this difference between the races because of opportunities. What kind of opportunities are going to lead to better job opportunities? Sorry, let me rephrase that. What opportunities are needed to be more likely to get a job? Danisha?
They would have to have good education.
Having a good education. What race tends to have a better education based off of graduation rates? Isaac?
White.
So the white population has higher graduation rates. So that means higher employment rates, which means lower unemployment rates. Correct. What I want you to do is put this in your folder, your backpack, whatever you have for homework. I want you to finish this chart for homework. We are going to use these charts next class, so you have to finish this chart for homework and bring it back on Friday. So when are we turning these in? Let's get Friday. Thank you. Please pull out your journals. We are almost done for today. This is our final thing. Thank you, Danisha, having her journal open. Thank you, Dahlia. Open your journal. Oh, I'm sorry, got some instructions. Thank you, Sierra, waiting for instructions. Dahlia, in your journal, either below your Cornell notes or if you need to on the next page, I want you to write a letter to President Obama. Oh, I'm losing some scholars. I need all scholars up here. Thank you, Cordelia. I want you to tell the president these 3 things. Tell the president how the civil rights movement succeeded. So that's the first thing. Second thing, what inequalities remain? What gaps and differences between the races still exist today? And finally, why? Why do those inequalities still remain today? Tell us why there's a difference in unemployment, why there's a difference in wealth. Now is the time for questions if you have any. What questions do we have before we begin? Go ahead, write this summary. Do so silently and independently. You've got 10 minutes. Answer these 3 questions in your journal. What's my volume expectation? Stefan, what's my volume expectation?
I ain't even in the cake, I ain't even I'm just talking to my friend.
Around and collect tickets. The volume should remain at a 0. Just make sure your names are on your ticket and put them in the bucket as he comes by. But it should still be silent. Can I have a general reminder, what is my volume expectation? Thank you, Amina. Portier, what's my volume expectation? Sierra, we're just going around choosing random people. Sierra, what's my volume expectation? So we all are good? Thank you. Let's make sure we all show me what that means.